shows, which is the phone that I have so much problems with that they've hijacked and cloned, and how everything I put on, this is how they get to me. They also were hacking into my IP and leaving messages, hacking into my phone through my IP. And I have evidence of that from the worker that came and said, this setup is not even to your house, it's somewhere else in the building. And but yeah, a whole bunch of things. Anyways, so here is what they won't post. I don't know why. It's my testimony from 2007.
If it still goes. Oh, it does.
There
Okay.
you go.
Um, I am going to tell my testimony. No, I'm not getting anyone involved. No. I won't be naming names. What are we doing here? They're trying to stop it. They're trying to stop my, they're trying to stop my thing. So I'm going to start at, just at the beginning, all right? Really quickly go over my childhood. I'm not going to go over the dramatics of it all and my dad riding around spaceships. That's a whole other story. Anyways, he escaped that. But I've been working since I was 15, and the psychiatrist said to me, I heard you have never worked a day in your life. And I'm like, I was a top vacuum salesman at age 15. Yeah, because I love people. Yeah, I was authentic and always have been. So I've had a job all my life. All throughout my high school years, I've never not had a job. In my 20s, I worked for an investment firm. First of all, as an executive assistant, and then for the admin team. And then I was offered a job in the Kootenays to be a regional manager, which I had to turn down because I was unqualified. But the clients liked me so much, and that's how horrible I am. I had turned down, like, I'm not qualified for this. But anyways, I did go and work longer. I quit to go try to make it work with my ex-husband. It didn't work out. We were great roommates, and then in 2001, I was caught up. Yeah, I cried for 2 to 3 to a month, day and night. I didn't shed tears in my dream, but I was crying in my spirit. I got caught up. I was purified, and I came out of that experience just with so many cups of love for people. Like, I've never experienced anything like it. I knew God loved every single person. Yeah. So, but just because you're caught up and your heart's purified doesn't mean that you don't make mistakes and you still don't have wounds. Nobody's perfect except Jesus. All right. So, I went through that experience, and I call it being caught up in the Beatitudes. A lot of people say, oh, I'm born again. I'm like, did you go through the Beatitudes? Did you have godly sorrow over what you've done to people, which everyone has either everyone has hurt somebody in your life. Okay, so you can have guilt that leads to death, which is a shame because what does it make me look like? Instead of how I wonder, I made them feel so bad. Do you understand the difference between godly sorrow? It's really like, wow, I made them feel so bad, and that you want to cry because you feel bad. You are sad that you made them feel bad. That's godly sorrow. Fake sorrow is, I'm so sorry, but it's really all about, themselves and how it makes them look. And then I went through poverty in the spirit. Yeah, because I was a believer all of my 20s. And then I was caught up, but not to this level. Yeah. In my 20s, when I was working at an investors group, I was caught up, but not to the level that I was caught up in 2001. No, I was crying at sunsets, and I quit smoking, and I threw away my weed bag, and not because I was being religious. I just didn't need it anymore. I was so fulfilled. And then I had another encounter in 2001, which was way more intense, and that was being born again. The end of that, I know they go karma, 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 persecution. That's really what it is, a lot of it. It says, blessed are who are persecuted for my sake, and the peacemakers, for their king, the kingdom of heaven is theirs. And they go, other people are so envious of your gifts, but they don't understand how much kind of persecution you had to go through, and and not bow down, to have that kind of standing with God where you could say, hey God, it's raining, can you make it stop raining? Or hey God, the whole province is on fire, can you stop it? And within 1 second he's put it all out. The kingdom of heaven is yours. So anyways, mine these teeth, they don't fit. So I have a hard time talking because it's like, so anyways, yeah. My psychiatrist said, I heard you never work a day in your life. I'm like, who told you that? I wonder. Anyways, yeah, so I haven't been working since I was 15. And I was a top vacuum cleaner salesman. And they wanted me to move out to Vancouver to work for them. And would have set me up and everything, but I was not going to move out at age, I think I was 15. No. So anyways, I ended up meeting someone, and he was great. And we went to ball games and base. We went to ball games, had bonfires. It was a great time, and I go on about God, how great God was, and he couldn't shut me up. Yeah, God's so great. God's so. Because I ended up having a son with him, and I knew that he wasn't ready, and I knew what that was like from when I was 20 and got married. So I never I just walked away. Because I would have been treated horribly if he wasn't ready to settle down. It's just what happens. Okay, so anyways. And then I lived in a small little apartment, and it was so blessed, and it was so full of the Holy Spirit that the guy who moved up there went to the landlord and said, who's the girl who lived there before me? I want to meet her. And he was a white witch, and I didn't know anything about witchcraft back then, so I didn't care. And he said, I've never sensed such peace in all my life. He goes, can I meet her? And so the landlord came to me and said, this guy wants to meet you. And he came in, he met me. He was a hairdresser. Yeah, I let him do my hair and everything. Anyways, so that was 2002. Yeah, I was pregnant. And then 2003, I gave birth. I moved into, I'm so horrible that my landlord gave me a real good deal. He shaved $200 off my rent. It was a two-bedroom apartment. If I would stay, because he said that I brought in a higher level of a higher class of people into the building, and I'm so horrible. So, anyways, that was a really good deal, but I didn't feel good in that apartment. It didn't feel spiritually right. I moved down, Anyways, I met my ex-narc. He offered everything on a silver platter. Everything I ever wanted, because I'd gone to, when I was pregnant, I went and took a college exam because I was going to be a a residential care worker because I used to work with people with disabilities in Alberta, and you have to be licensed here, but not in Alberta because they don't have enough workers. So I got accepted into college, and I was a high school dropout, and I had a college level entrance. Yeah. I did a Mensa test as a joke, and I got accepted. Anyways, so that's not a boast. That's just, yeah. Well, that's a boast. We can't boast in heaven, so let's boast all we want here. Anyways, so I had my whole plan set up that at age 3, I was going to college. I was, I met this man. He said, "Your son's so precious. And you're so precious. This is what real love is." So God warned me about him, but I was in the middle of a love bomb. I'm like, he treats my son so well, and that's all I wanted, right? And he said, "Now listen, you can go to college later. I have a job. Why don't we start a family? Put a ring on my finger, and you can just be at home mom," which was a dream come true for me. Maybe not for everybody, but for me, I wanted to raise my kids. I didn't want anyone else raising my kids and me out working. So then I also had all this music, which my friend Judy was trying to get me to record and get out there. And I did have a producer call me and say, get a CD ready, and I didn't have any equipment at the time. And so that was plan B. And so I was going to work as a residential care worker, and then I was going to send my music I did mostly country, like kind of folk country, crossover pop. I don't know what you call it. It's his own thing. And I was going to do it under another name because I didn't want fame, because I was a minister in 2001 when I was being caught up, what fame was all about. And it was just a desire to be loved by everybody, which is what we have in heaven. And so it's a counterfeit. Yeah, we all love each other in heaven. So it's just counterfeit. So anyways, I never wanted fame. So I was going to send it under another name and just live modestly and not sell any of my gospel music, so I didn't want to make a money changing table. But any of the music that healed, like Precious Amen, and I had worthless things. I had a lot of things. I mentioned God a few times, but it wasn't. I didn't think it was a money changing. It was more, it had to be out there. So, things turned really violent really fast, and my landlord locked him out and gave me a women's shelter thing that I never used. I used later. And I went to, I started letting him back in, and he promised, and he love bombed me for a while, and then I was crap. And then, so I finally went over to my friend's, Judy's, to tell her that what was going on, that I was being abused, which she was so shocked because in 2002, after I came back from being caught up, I cast demons out of her house. I helped her out of the darkness. I got her mom into recovery. In 2004, her mom was dying. I'm not giving a spiritual resume, but you guys are pigs that like to stomp on people's pearls, okay? And I had no clue I could even do that in God. No, I was absolutely shocked. When I prayed for those demons to leave, they came at the window. Yeah, me and Judy still talk about that. They tried to get back in the window like birds hitting the window. We were like, ah! Anyways, so I moved until I said I was a couple days late, so I thought, I might be pregnant. So I ended up taking a test because I went over to her house to finally admit the abuse, because I was kind of avoiding her because I didn't want to tell her what was going on, and because we were always so honest with each other, told each other everything, and I felt like not telling her was a lie. So I said we better get a test, and when I got a test, I was pregnant. And after that, the abuse got so severe that I kicked him out, and I took him back, and then we got a 3-bedroom, and when he had to pay the rent, he left. And so I went to a low-income housing unit, and this is where it began. Yeah, this is where it all began. I had a 3-bedroom low-income housing unit. I was on a thing called Pal Talk, 24 hours a day. Yeah. Well, I looked after my kids, but I was on the computer a lot, on the chat room. I had lots of nicks like Remember Love, Grow in Love, Rocky Six. I had some funny ones too. The Couch Potato Prophet. Yeah, when they made me lame last time with lithium. I was like, I may not be able to get off this couch, but I can still prophesy. But I didn't go into. I never told anyone my name. And so, anyways, all of a sudden, people started messaging me on this chat room, telling me what I was wearing, what I was cooking, what I was basically letting me know I was watched. And at first, it was just nice white shorts, and it was winter, and I was wearing those lingerie shorts. And I was like, what? And I was on the phone with Judy when I got this message on the phone. I said, oh my God, some guy just said something about my white shorts. She said, that's weird. I'm like, yeah. Because I was in a women's shelter before that. Because of my ex, I spent quite a lot of time in a women's shelter. And I saw 2 stalkers until it became something about Mary. Something about Mary Magdalene. And I'm not even Mary Magdalene, but they thought I was. Anyways, and no, I didn't play the part. No. It was just such a fluke. All right. Anyways, so they were probably watching since I moved in. Yeah. Or maybe not. They might have seen the whole drama from 2005 to 2007. What happened was gang stalkers love to gang stalk you. And then they love to they love the day that they let you know that they're doing it because they want to humiliate you. We've been watching, And then they were telling me they were watching me in my shower. They were calling me pancake boobs because I got 3 children. And yeah, so anyways, they were calling me pancake. And they were just nasty. They said they had toilet cams. So I started getting really paranoid because every time I went online, they were telling me what I was doing. And so it got even weirder. I started prophesying. Yeah, like I went into another world. I was literally going, I need to get this jar. I said to Judy, she goes, I can't pull you out of this world. I said, I got to get this ark to dry land. My chickens are clucking. Because whenever I was afraid, I'm like, my chickens are clucking. And my ducks are quacking. I can't stop talking. And the dogs are barking at me. Yeah. Anyways. So I saw a warning coming to America. I was in the shower. And it was almost like I could hear a trumpet, but not audibly, just a trumpet in the spirit. I mean, Babylon was falling, but Babylon's not United States. It's not America. They changed my words. I never said America was Babylon, no. Babylon is a completely different system of climbing a ladder up to God. Anyways, so I started prophesying about the fall of America. I could see it coming, and everyone's like, nothing was going on. Not even the housing market hadn't crashed in 2008 yet, or nothing there was no sign, but I knew it was coming, and I'm not going to insult countries, but I knew which country was which, and I failed social studies, so he took a fool. So I have to call up my friend and go, do you know anything about this place? Right? I don't want to go into it. It was about China. It was about China being a leopard. Yeah, and I didn't know anything about China. And I'm like, what the heck is this? She told me all about it. And she said, we don't have to worry about that. I said, no, we do. Yes, we do. Okay. Anyways, so it got. Then I started prophesying to America, and then I was told, but they had it rigged up in our attic, V2K weapons, and I didn't know at the time, but they were doing it to my son because he was hearing voices, and my ex was saying, well, he's got schizophrenia or something, and I actually kind of wondered because I didn't hear voices, but he was hearing voices and stuff, and so they were attacking him, and so I would spend. All of a sudden, they descended upon my home and played a stripper game, and it was all. It was just game. It was a game of. It was a game of trying to drag people away through sex or money. Yeah, like, and then I go on. When I finally went on Twitter. Oh yeah, I got offered a career, and millions of dollars to join them, and I turned it down. Oh, because a celebrity showed up, because I was very scared. I was like, "Who's watching us?" And I didn't know about the deep web or anything like that, so I was really freaked out of who would be watching me. But I take advantage of every situation I'm in, so I alchemized it and I just played my guitar, preach to these people. Why you gotta be so mean? Anyway, so then the celebrity showed up, and I didn't know anything about the industry, and I thought, oh my gosh, they must have found this gong show. So it was about him at the strip joint, my ex at the strip joint, in which I was told online, someone messaged me and said he sold you guys out for ass money. Yeah, so that's what he did. And he got free strippers, free hookers, free sex. So no paper trail, just free everything. Free celebrity sex too, by MK Ultra victims, which I didn't recognize at the time. So I was fighting them for like quite a long time. When I found out what the celebrities are about, I exposed the industry, and I was researching 16 hours a day online, and they took 1 million of my tweets just to be me. Yeah, because they want to be the researcher too. Knowledge is free, okay? But I did take a lot of time. That was over 1 million tweets. And when I went to my ex's place, I found 2 boxes full of all my social media. I took my Facebook because I could fit it in my bag, but I couldn't get the Twitter, was up to here. So, I guess he's the one or whatever. I'm not quite sure. He's so godly. And so anyways, he went to the other side. Yeah, the other side. On to the next one. Paid. Right. Anyways, so I was fighting with these people in my living room, and I'm getting pictures of Lady Gaga doing voodoo dolls of me. Yeah, like, why? Because I love God. Anyways, so it was an all-out war on my house that you wouldn't believe, and damn rights I did some crazy stuff just to mess with them. Did some really, oh yeah, I was, yeah. Anyways, but I'm trying to think of what happened here. Where are we? Oh yeah, so I was getting trolled day and night online. Yeah, they never let me know, or they kept on letting me. They never not let me know that they were watching. Like, because I never was leaving my house. I had cabin fever, and when I did, they did street theater. Like, they gather around and sing songs. Like, it was really weird. And even the hospital was street theater, so I couldn't sleep. And Mom took me to the hospital, and I just needed insomnia pill, and they put me in there and put me on an antipsychotic for no reason. I had mentioned nothing. I didn't say nothing about America. I didn't say nothing. It was just nothing. And then, because they were probably watching too, and then they kept on throwing me in the hospital, calling me paranoid. They couldn't find out what I had because I didn't have schizophrenia, but it looked like schizophrenia, I was forming it, even though you don't get it past 25. So good luck with that. Anyways, they couldn't diagnose. They didn't know what I had. I had the truth. Yeah, it was really happening. That's what was going on. And so during the stripper games, it was so evil, and I could go into that, but I'm not going to testify so deeply. But when they were doing the stripper games, yes, it was a blood sport. It was a blood sport, and I didn't know this at the time. I would be up praying and fasting, praying and fasting, praying and fasting, praying for weeks and weeks and weeks until I could see the future. Yeah. And I could see it throughout the whole time. It wasn't like I saw it at the end of the three or four or the 5 weeks. It was throughout I was seeing it the whole time. I was just drinking water, and I was pacing my house, and I was panicking of what I was seeing coming. A few times, like I'd had a few of those encounters. In 2006, I was up every night on a full moon night praying because I knew evil stuff was going on under the moon. Well, I didn't know that. I learned that later. I couldn't figure out, God, why are you waking me up to pray? Like, people are in danger on a full moon night. And every time I couldn't get to sleep, I would pray, and I was called to pray. I'd look out the window, and it was a full moon. So that's just basically 2007, 2006. And that's when they named me Sarah Connor, because they knew I was telling the truth. Because I was exposing a lot of stuff, not just the fall of America. I was exposing a lot of stuff, especially in 2008 when I started researching it. And they still kept on throwing me in the hospitals. And that's when they took away my kids for exposing child trafficking and Nancy Schaefer being murdered, the senator that was going to expose it. So that's just a mild thing. That's just like one page of maybe 3,000 pages that I could write on 2007. But that's what happened there. And I was on camera, and he, they would send me pictures of him buried in sand, because I wrote this song called Precious Aching Man about, the castle that she made you all out of flattery. It's just sand, right? So he's like buried in sand, and they would send me pictures of him. Oh, it's horrible. Of doing horrible sexual acts and stuff. Like I'm not doing that like that. What's this picture? Anyways, so that was 2007. Me being that was the beginning. And so, what else had happened in 2007? I was undiagnosed. I didn't have my kids taken away yet, though. At that point, I was just prophesying. And I was told, whether this was God or not, that to prophesy to America, I would have to become as America. And, well, welcome to America. Energy weapons and sound frequency harassment and 5G and target individuals and welcome to America. Anyway, so I said, no, America's falling. You couldn't do that to me, God. It's just for a time. He said, oh, it's a little bit long. A little bit longer than I, wanted. All right. Anyway, so my friend Judy had blocked me because I saw some really nasty messages on her page. Like that witch friend of yours. They were just, it's just your mental illness. I'm going to have to block you. And then later on, I was told that she was the copycat the whole time. And then I saw, that's why I was suspicious of her. She's had a picture saying I came to play the game on her mom's thing, holding up all the signs and stuff. And I'm like, and I quit. I walked away from everyone. I've been in isolation. I don't, just people in the building. Like if I move to a building, I have a couple of neighbors I talk to. And, you gotta be careful about that, because once they find out who you are, they get into big smear campaigns and jealous, and they're all in networks talking about you. And, oh, I read it, 53 years old, and they're talking about my alcoholic phase as a teenager. Anyways, so that's what happened in 2007. It was just nothing but prophesying. I didn't call myself a prophet until it came true. My friend Judy thought I had schizophrenia the whole time. Yeah, I hadn't seen her for years and years and years. And when I finally went out there, I healed. And I went out there to help her with her horses and stuff. She's having a really rough time. And I had healed from this lobotomy shot that they put me back on. Yeah, just to punish me. And they'll reap what they sow too. Anyways, she said to me, "You never had schizophrenic, and we feel so bad for how persecuted you were. You were right about everything." So, anyways, that's that. I'm gonna answer some. Oh, hi guys. Can you tell me what's great about this life? Is it worth living? Yes, it is. Because if you could relieve someone's suffering, if you're here, okay, fight for the oppressed, feed the poor, just like the prophets that they stoned, right? A prophet would come out and go, "I never asked for sacrifice. What are you doing? I just wanted you to take care of the widow, the orphan, the oppressed, and feed the poor. Like, love one another. You're here to love one another, okay? And right now it's a game of heartbreak and betrayal. And they had to get us all into isolation. A lot of this, a lot of this is just targeting. A lot of this is just smear campaigns behind your back, and everyone's acting weird. And a lot of this is a psyop. In the 90s, we all loved each other. There was no there was no narcissism or arguing, or I mean, there might have been, but we didn't notice it. We all loved each other. No one screwed each other over it. This life is worth living. Yeah, we're not trapped by some, God where there's nowhere higher than Him who's feeding off of us. So we are trapped by our cons who feed off of us and loosh off of us and all that kind of stuff. But the Most High above it all, He sees it all, and this is all coming to an end. Yeah. So if you're here, and it's usually the ones with the biggest hearts that can't handle it, don't close your heart. Make sure you don't open it to the wrong people. You don't have to be cruel or mean, but forgive yourself if they push you to your limits for too long and you go, oh, because you will. 20 years, it took me 20 years to lose my crap, and then they finally said, "See, she was like that the whole time." Oh, really? Really? 1 year of being told nothing but lies about my best friend, getting clone voice. They were sending messages, horrible messages from her with her voice. Yeah, they went and took over all of my accounts and wrote horrible things to people, making me, because they had to. I didn't join them, and if you join them, you have to go under MK Ultra because you're part of a network of New World Order, and you have to give a narrative, and they have to put you under mind control, and they have to have full control over you because you're working for them. So if you have a free platform where you never sold out for, and it was weird. Like when I went on Twitter, I was DJing people's music. Hey, can you play my music? I'm sure. Go listen to it. Sure. I was an accidental DJ for a while. Like it was a weird situation that they think it was orchestrated because it was so bizarre, but it's a true story. So yeah, keep on going. You know, you have lots to live for, and don't look at that this thing is an enmity towards God. It was created to do everything against what God would have you do, like murder, bitterness, gossip, backbiting, lust, all these things that can lead to breakups of family, people dying, smear campaigns that get people killed. So your flesh is never going to please God. Yeah, and the church teaches you that you got to quit sinning in your flesh because they don't get it. All right, they just don't. I'm not promoting it because the more you get rid of, the less control this matrix thing, whatever it is, has over you. So I smoke cigarettes and some weed every once in a while, and I was on pain meds. I quit them, but I needed it. They radiated me down to 90 pounds and almost 87 pounds. And then they try to hide it, and then threatening, the hospitals and the doctors, and then and then they give me brain tests, which are total lies. Yeah, because my eye caved in and I went in there. Like it caved in 2022 where it was caved in. Oh, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. They know it's there. Yeah. And when I told my doctor, I said, "What would you do if I left? I wasn't a test subject." Because yeah, then they sold me into trafficking me psychiatrically, which they think is a really good thing, but it includes mind torturing people. Do you get it? And you know who I'm talking to, who says this is this is a good thing. Okay, so I went through they tried putting me through Project Bluebeam. Oh yeah, chased me around, calling me Mary. I'll get into 2008. I'll do 1 year at a time. So 2007 was when I woke up and went, I'm on camera, and I've written a prophecy about the refiner's fire. And at the very end, it says the lame will pick up their mats and walk in their spirit. And I'm like, this is happening to me. I thought it was for believers. But anyways, hi, Eco official. What's great about this life? What's great about this life? Love. Yeah. If someone's hurt you or that's because they've missed the mark of love. Do you want to know what sin means? It's an archer term of missing the bullseye, and the bullseye is love. Yeah, in order to fulfill the 10 Commandments, love. Because if you love your neighbor, you're not going to cheat on their partner, right? I mean, if you love your friend, you're not going to cheat on. If you love your neighbor, you're not going to murder him. If you love your neighbor, you're not going to steal from him. If you don't, you could be tempted to be doing that stuff. So, anyways, love has always been the answer, but it has to be God's love, because chemical love is just it can turn to obsession. It's just hormones, pheromones, all that stuff. Love is enough, but not chemical love where you're infatuated and then it gets boring and then okay, goodbye. Okay, that's not real love. No. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll tell you about 2008 if this goes through. They've been blocking me on every platform I can imagine. Like they're just trying to erase me off the internet. I'll talk to you later, guys. Hi, Jackson.
Okay, so they did this other thing. Let me stop this. Hello, Boss Gamer. You become my number